This is the table of contents, and I'll begin with the executive summary. The main purpose of this departmental meeting is for us to discuss and come to a conclusion about whether Tesla should or should not consider entering the Indian market. Tesla is gaining popularity and expanding its consumer interests. The electric vehicles produced by Tesla could be a great product for the Indian market as it is currently dealing with severe air pollution issues. India is one of the countries with the largest middle class consumers, and it would be a good market to expand a business if the company produced goods with low cost and high efficiency. However, Tesla produces expensive vehicles, and majority of the consumers in India may not be able to afford it. To come to a conclusion whether Tesla should consider expanding into to the Indian market or not, each department will put forth the information that they have gathered, and we will have a detailed discussion and come to a decision.
Okay, so the Tesla has succeeded in producing electric cars with its Model 3 in China. So Tesla has decided to build the vehicles in Shanghai and use local parts from local suppliers because locally built cars are exempt from vehicle purchase. Tesla plans to enter the electric vehicle market in India and negotiate a deal with the government to reduce the duty on imported cars. So Tesla electric vehicle, which the company plans to sell in India, will have CIF exceeding $40,000 and attract 60% duty. So I will let the finance department explain how the electric cars are going to import into India and how they are negotiating with the Indian government and finance.
So the India's vehicle volumes fell 18% in 2020, but the experts said that they believe that the Indian car market would be one of the fastest growing segments. And they also predicted that in 2021, there should be a 30% growth. There's a lot of people in India refrain from buying electric cars because there aren't enough charging stations. But the government has ambitious targets to increase the charging infrastructure. He also said that there are a few drafts which hopefully they would implement in the coming budget during the next year. Tesla has been asked to ramp up the local procurement and share details about the manufacturing plans. It said that the car makers' demands for lower taxes on electric vehicles are being considered by the India's government. Tesla wants the import duty on electric cars to be cut to 40% from the current 60%. The company also wants 10% social welfare surcharge, which also helps fund health and education programs for the people in India. The Ministry of Heavy Industry and the nation's Ministry of Finance couldn't reach out to Tesla on what their answer is about on what they have asked for their procedure. Nusrat, could you continue your part?
Well, for my part feature, I found that still the same thing, highest import duties can affect the huge selling on Tesla in India, which is if they have to pay 100% import duties, which is according to Indian duties tariff law, which is for whole building car is which is more than $40,000. It has to be 100% importing yeah, it like they have to pay 100% import duty on it. So if that goes on, then the price will be higher than like it. They have to increase the price in the double. And according to the household average income in India, it'll be really impossible for all the like most of the consumers to buy it from them. And then so Tesla won't be able to make that much profit like as they're like having a yeah according to their desire, or also like if they're setting a goal of profit, then they won't be able to reach in that level. So that pretty much we found. And then yeah, that's the main issue. Like if they reduce the if government agrees to lower the tax, lower the tariffs, then Tesla has huge kind of opportunity to get a like a big market in Indian car. And but then Modi like present government, they are saying that Tesla should manufacture their car in India, but there are still some like issues going on, whether they're agreeing it or not. So that's the issue pretty much we find.
So can you tell me, mm, is it possible that Tesla will sustain in India? Can can you say again?
We're not so
Sorry.
sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, what was the question again?
Is it possible that Tesla will succeed in India?
Well, if the issue of being like 100% tariffs get reduced, and if like the company agrees to manufacture their product, like their car and engines in India, then it might have a huge chance that Tesla can have like success. Tesla can make success in India.
Okay, thank you.
So, moving on to the marketing and promotions department, India is one of the most populated countries in the world, and its population could cause most businesses that enter the Indian market to turn into multi billion companies with the right products and strategies. As Tesla produces expensive vehicles, not many people in India would be able to afford them. However, this issue could be tackled by manufacturing the cars domestically in India and lowering the costs of the products. Entering a new market is complicated, but it is possible if in depth analysis are made. The plan to enter the market with sales only network. The plan is to enter with sales only network in the beginning, and then move forward to manufacturing and assembling plants, depending on how the market responses to the products. The air in India is extremely polluted, and Tesla's electric vehicles are a good alternative option for the drivers. Tesla's marketing strategies have gained much success so far in the other countries, and our marketing team believes that it could be successful even in India, as it has been successful so far.
Yes, as far as the marketing goes, Tesla until now spent around 30% of what every other car manufacturing company around the globe. That's because they redirected the money into services, into charging station, into customer services, and into basically customer support. And by that, they created a very, very supportive customer base that enjoys the product and enjoys the service, and kind of use the word mouth to ear system. They make sure that all the customers that buy the cars are 120% happy with the product and the service. And then, like iPhone does, they are the ones who actually tell everyone they should buy the car and should get into that business.
Is there anyone going to talk more about marketing? People from the marketing group?
Yep. One of the main things that, and I think it was already hit on, India is a really huge population, and it's growing consistently. One of the downsides, though, that we saw when contemplating the Indian market was how much of the population can afford the price of the car. India has a growing population, but as stated in our proposal, there's a they also have a big percentage of the population that's poor. As poverty is really big in India at the moment. So that's just an obstacle that we have, and I thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah, as far as the marketing goes, the marketing, no reason that it does not work in India, same as it works around the world. But like you said before, Tesla is a fully electric, high performance car. And in most countries, high performance cars has high taxes. And anyway, electric cars require constant repairs and constant care, which costs a lot of money. Further than just buying the car. Therefore, there's going to be a very, very small percentage, estimated between 5 to 7% of the population that can afford. And we can already know how much out of it, not already know, but we can assume how much out of this 5 to 7% will actually buy an electric car. As far as the air pollution goes, whoever was in India, they don't care that much about that. So I don't think that the air pollution will justify the cost of the car in that case, and the services that the car will require.
Most of the cheaper variants of the vehicles, they have lower clearance and lower ground clearance, and then the roads in India are pretty bad. So don't you think it would not be the perfect market for the product?
Now
Because
I'm glad you hit on that, Chogi. That's something that I also struggle with too, when considering whether Tesla should or should not enter India. Yeah, so that's one of the big red flags that I noticed. India has really bad roads. They have some of the worst traffic in the world. So, and one of the big pros or good sides of buying a Tesla is that you have automated or cruise control type driving. And I just don't, in my personal opinion, don't see how one could actually use something like cruise control or automated driving in such a heavily traffic, area like how India is, and how, especially considering how bad the roads are.
yeah.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you pointed out. That's something else that I also thought of.
Yeah,
Also ask a question.
to further say about that, even when it comes to the road quality in India, the problems that the car will have because of the road quality, because of the air quality, it means that the car will need more care than usual, as far as my research went, as our research went. And like Will said, the cruise control feature will probably not work as good.
So I have a question to the marketing department. So being that the main sales point for Tesla is the automated autonomous driving feature, and considering that that feature cannot necessarily work in India with the driving conditions, also not considering that just considering the fact that most of India's roads are not even something they have a lot of unnamed roads there, so the autonomous driving feature would be able to navigate through some of the roads that aren't there. So how would you market this seemingly pretty average car, without the sales point of that Tesla normally sells on?
Well, good question. One of it, like we said, one of the biggest challenges is that the road conditions, and someone may not want to invest in a Tesla, being that it doesn't have that automated or cruise control type ability with the car anymore. So if we chose to enter in the Indian market, one of the things that we would do is just target our high-end market, and when we would just emphasize on our strengths besides the automated or autonomous driving. So that way we have a lesser footprint in India and take on less risk, less cost, things of that sort. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more thing I wanted to point out too. In our proposal, we also put in our proposal that we should have a direct sales or kind of like pop up almost in India, to kind of like have a lesser footprint, and that way we also target the high end, and we don't really go into India as heavy, if you know what I mean.
One more thing about the pop-up shop. How are you gonna do a pop? I mean, how are we gonna do a pop-up shop when you cannot import the cars? Because here's the thing, like I mean, the tariff laws aren't gonna go anywhere, and it costs way too much to get the car in India. So I mean, the consumer at the end of the day, the consumer has to pay, and no matter like how rich is the consumer, how high end the consumer is. I mean, he won't be paying like double or triple the amount of like the price that they can get in USA. So I mean, is there a way we can work around that?
So your question is, if I'm understanding you right, so you mean if we have, say, a pop-up shop, for lack of better words, in India, how we get around um, the import tax and all those things that come with it? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you repeat your question again? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was asking if your question was, if we had a pop-up shop, for lack of better words, in India, how your question was, how would we get around that import tax and all those things that come with that? Is that what you was asking?
Yes, that is what I was going for. Yep. How are we gonna run our way around the tariff laws and stuff? Because from what I know, we tried to do that, but the in government didn't say, and the reason for that was that they couldn't do it because the competition in the market, it would be unfair to them. So yeah, I mean, how do we work around that? So yeah, that's my question.
Oh, okay. I hadn't known that that was tried before, but if I had to guess or trying to think of a way that it could work, I would assume that we just that a small pop-up shop be set up, um, coordinated with the government, of course, and things of that sort. I think if we set up a pop-up shop right away, it will be more costly, but it will also allow us to survey the market and get an understanding of, will this work, and how and where should we work within the Indian market. And I think it's worth, even if we do have to do complicated workarounds and carry on additional costs for in terms of importing the cars and things of that sort, I think it's worth the risk of getting a good answer to whether we should or should not enter the Indian market. So I hope that gives you a good answer to your question.
I just want to add to it. Actually, there are some Teslas over here in Nepal. So because the electronic vehicles tax is not so much high over here in Nepal, it's not the official showroom or anything like that. But then they import over here and then they sell it to the customers in high price. Only like 5 or 6 Teslas are there here in Nepal. But yeah, they do that. They import it from the other country, and yeah, obviously they'll put a lot of money on it, and then yeah, some people who are like above average and like they really want to get Tesla, they buy Tesla, yeah, over here in Nepal. And yeah, there are no charging stations or anything as such, but then yeah, they charge it in the home and like stuff like that.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say is that we cannot, just focus on the high end people. Like just if because like I mean, no motor company would want that to just like sell like 2 to 3 cars to the really rich people. I mean, I, I mean, India is still a developing country, even though they still have their fair share of really really rich people. But yeah, I mean, if we sell just like 50 cars in just one country, I mean that's in just one state. Because from what I know, I mean, like probably just Mumbai is probably the one that has the most number of the high end people. But still, I mean, if we just concentrate on just one segment of people, I mean, I don't think that's a good I don't think that's a good opportunity. But yeah, I
Well,
mean,
in my opinion, yeah, India, it has a Ferrari. You can see most of the, I mean, like any type of cars you want in India. But then, like, yeah, it's only the high class people who buy them. But then, in my opinion, if some importer tries and gets the Tesla over there, like imports Tesla over there and sells it, and yeah, like someone said over here that it's also a survey, right? So once they do that and they get the idea of how many people are gonna buy, even though if it's not in the the retail price, even though it's the imported price, and if the sales is a bit high, even though it's imported, then obviously Elon is, I mean, like the Tesla is gonna have a look at it and like think about it, right? Even the imported cars are being sold in so many quantities, so like even they will think about it and think about maybe getting Tesla in India, you know.
In um, in regards to what Faye said, I'd argue that Tesla is a high end product for high end that attracts high end high end market, the high end market. So even if say we were to enter India and then we were to target just the high end market, I don't think it'd be drastically different than what Tesla is already doing, targeting the high end market at those extremely high prices in the U.S. and everywhere else. Um, if that makes sense. So that's all I got for that. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we can move on to human resources. Um, okay, after taking into consideration of all the factors provided from the HR department report, the future of Tesla coming to India cannot be further from where it is at the moment. When comparing to local manufacturers such as Tata, which is Indian-based auto company, Toyota, Hyundai, etc., the company is fairly young with only 70,000 plus employees as of 2021, and their plans to open in India and expand the use of electric vehicles in Asia, although it's a noble effort, it's not without its problem. In terms of employees, let's say employee payments, Tesla has been providing like good pay with insurance, retirement fund, even 401k, but their hiring process is very uh, strict in a way that they are looking for very talented, innovative employees that are willing to give like 100% effort. And even though there are benefits, it's not without its costs, as former employees of Tesla have said, like in this recent report in the Insider, a former employee who worked directly with Elon Musk said the culture is in which if you don't have a solution to a problem and you don't have that problem resolved within a few days or weeks or two, you're gone. So it's better to keep your mouth shut, highlighting one of the many stresses an employee faces. Another worker says how working 70 hours a week was not an unusual, was not unusual. And in terms of customer service, former salesperson spoke that there were several times that he or she had to hear the company see the customers have bad experiences, and yet he or she had to escalate it up the chain and get the customer free service for like a year or two. And every time they did that, the company was more hard on him rather than fixing their poor customer service. Another issue, as we were discussing about, was the price point. Even their cheapest model, which is the Model 3, starts from $74,000 to $81,000. It's like double the price than in the States because of import taxes and all. But that's not the only issue highlighted, as my other classmates said, the country's road conditions, the country's driving cultures, it's completely different from the US, and Tesla has a bad reputation of reliability. Many customers have complained that it's difficult to get repairs. Even a few people who had damaged their battery packs due to debris on the road, Tesla gave them a bill of $16,000 for a repair. And for $16,000 in India, especially, you can buy two cars easily that are from well-known companies, and it's more cheaper. And even though there are plans, Tesla is talking to the government about cutting down the price of the Tesla Model 3 to 35 lakhs, which is around $41,000. There are still companies such as Toyota, Tata, Suzuki that have been there for many years, and their cars are much cheaper because, like, for example, a Toyota Fortuner SUV, you can see it all across Thailand. You can get it for 5 lakhs cheaper, or $3,000 to $4,000 cheaper. And if you're getting a car or SUV that sits 7 people, it's comfortable. It has good ground clearance. It's easy to maintain and easy to repair. Then the question is, why would one person choose a high-end car that is difficult to maintain, no charging stations, nothing, with poor customer service, choose a car that costs double or even triple the price? So yeah, in conclusion, from the HR market, HR department, the future of Tesla coming to India as of now, like as of how things are right now, it seems very unlikely. People from the HR department, would you like to elaborate?
I mean, it pretty much captures the summary of the thing, but at the same time, I also want to add upon the problem that we would have for human resources in this case is the lack of manpower in India. You know, if we were to move the company there, first off, there is a subsidiary office in Karnataka, but like although it's mostly dealing with the what we call administration stuff, and so it means like Tesla doesn't really have like a established foothold in the country yet. So manpower in that case we do not have. On top of all that, it's the problem of trying to find skilled labor in India as well. You know, although there are quite a huge population of people, it is hard to find labor that can be attuned to like Tesla's needs. On top of that, the administration of India as well also has a campaign in which they're supporting like local manufacturing, domestic manufacturing. So like on top of the fact that there's hard to find talent, like, hard to find employees to work for the company, a lot of that talent is being diverted somewhere else other than other than our company in a sense. Yeah, there is lower, you know, the lower wages would make it quite convincing, but like it doesn't really matter if we cannot find anyone to work for us. And then to add upon the charging stations issues too, yes, it's also a huge factor because like since India has been already been established with like non-electric cars, you know, it's hard to find anyone in India who is able to work on or like do repairs or like do any mechanical work on the electric cars. Either we have to train them ourselves, which would cost a lot more, which would create more cost, or it's no. So like I'm also for like the idea that it's very unlikely that Tesla can establish themselves into India and the human resources part.
Anyone else from the human resources?
No, it's only me today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd like to add this point. Like, even if Tesla is and like aiming for the high class people, like people with more than like 100,000 monthly income, there are still so many different car manufacturers that they can choose to buy. Like, for example, Audi, BMW, Mercedes, they're all prominent in India, and they also have electric variations of their car. And like if you do want electric vehicles, like personally, I would choose a company that has a good history with cars. Like, for example, Audi has a lot of pedigree, be it to racing, be it to reliability and design, and then price wise and model wise, they're pretty much similar. Like if you want the big SUVs, then the price comes similar to the Tesla Model X. But if you want small hatchbacks, then it's almost the same price as the Tesla Model 3, where it would be if the government agrees with Elon Musk cutting, like Elon Musk's demand of cutting the price down to 35 lakhs. So expenditure wise and human resources wise, I don't think Tesla would be coming to India anytime soon. If anyone has questions, the floor is open. Okay. Operation and production then. Next up.
So after reviewing Tesla's power and production in India, I feel like we have come across some points that are important to address. And the first problem is that we would like to discuss is the tariff problem. We've been discussing this from the start of the meeting, and I feel that this is a big burden on the consumer. And no matter how I mean, even if we target the 1% of India, I mean, I hope you get the 1% meaning, the richest of rich. Even if you target that, they're rich, but they're not, stupid. I mean, I'm sorry for the language, but they're rich, but they're not stupid, because nobody will get a car that costs more than, I mean, the biggest of brands. Because even if you go for a Jaguar, or I mean, Jaguar has a really prominent place in the rich market, and BMW and not Mercedes. I mean, yeah, even Mercedes. I mean, they have like a really rich reputation in the Indian market. So yeah, I mean, if you take a look at that, I mean, people won't be paying so much for just an electric car, where they're as they just said upstairs, that you know they can still get other cars that are electric and have more brand value over them. So yeah, and even if I mean, even if Tesla comes to India, it creates problems of its own, as there are no charging stations. I mean, to build the charging station is, I mean, you need a specific location for building these charging stations. And with India's history of, like, I mean, just it just doesn't make sense, because there's going to be misuse of those electric charging stations. And yeah, so the government has to allot these like very specific locations for these charging ports for Tesla. And uh yeah, I mean, yeah, so as I read through the document, it says that Tesla already uses like around three parts of their car are made in India, where it won't be a problem. It won't be a problem for Tesla already, because they're already like making three parts in Tesla, three parts of the cars in India. So yeah, I mean, there will be a problem. And when they do introduce like the cars into the Indian market, there's going to be an increase in the EV battery, as the automakers will be, excited about EV batteries, and they're going to produce more. So I mean, that is good. But looking at the bigger uh yeah, I mean, looking at the bigger picture, I feel that Tesla can be a it could provide good benefits, but only if the government takes into consideration the talk about the Indian roads, as we discussed before, that they really need to fix the roads, and 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 about the risk of power cuts. This is a big problem in India. I mean, if there's a power out and there's electric charging stations don't work because of the power out, the Tesla is worthless. I mean, it works in charging stations. And oh, and this is one more. Even if, like, there was suggested, someone just said upstairs that in Nepal, they're like, you can just charge it at home. I mean, we have seen the Tesla, there's a lot of situations where, you have to rush for something, and you forget to like charge it overnight, and some stuff happens, because, like, you have to look at all scenarios. And if your car dies in the middle, I mean, like, you could go to, like, in USA or any other places, you can go to a charging station. But if your car dies in the middle of the road, you're done, because there are no charging stations in India. If Tesla goes into the Indian market without charging stations. So yeah, there's a lot of risks, and yeah, that's just it for the
Well,
summary.
Feist, I think the problem is that you have to realize those are the questions that always are going to get answered in entering any market that Tesla is not in, not just India. You have to, that's why we're searching for the solutions before we go into it. So if you have a lot of problems, the first thing you're supposed to do is come up with solutions first before entering into the market, and thus the reason for this meeting. So I'm glad you're bringing up those points, but we already know about that issue, trust me. Especially when it comes to the charging stations and the rolling blackouts, because they have those here in Thailand, but we are still able to have electric cars here in Thailand with rolling blackouts. We just had one 3 days ago. So we can fix that issue, but we just have to see how far not only Tesla, but the government is willing to go to assess those issues and to fix them before we fully launch into India. But if you look at what we have in our report now for R&D, we're really just planning on doing a combined unit sale. So it's not even worried about getting, right now we're not even worried about entering into the market versus getting manufacturing done in India, even though you said, like you said, they do have certain parts that are being made in India, but we want to sell it as one whole unit being shipped over. And that's the problem that they're having right now because of the cost. At 75,000 US dollars per car, it is going to be in a niche market. And we don't want it to start off in niche markets, but even in America, Tesla is still a niche market. And you can't expect that every single one of the 1.5 billion people are going to be expected to afford a Tesla. That's just not going to happen. Okay, so we're going into this with a level head and a reality, knowing that we are in the market for right now, entering India, the top 5 to 10%. That's just how it is. We can worry about everybody else down the line.
Ron, one sec. I'm sorry. Prajeep, could you please change the page number to our thing? This is
yes, thank you.
Elsa's. Yeah, that's not our entire thing though. That's just the summary.
Okay, wait, well, entire thing, right?
Yeah, it would be helpful if you guys could read our research while we're explaining.
Marketing, human resources.
It's on page 19.
Yep, got it. Do you guys want to start from here or down the page?
From the first page would be good. I believe Ron should be going first.
Okay. The floor is
Yeah,
yours.
as you can see, I've already started talking about this because I'm like, I'm really into this because of the Tesla itself. I've always been a fan of Tesla, but honestly, moving into India, like you said, it's going to have a lot of hurdles. And 55 lakh is not going to be something that a lot of people can just throw out for a Tesla Model 3. And that is the lowest end car that they have at Tesla. So how many people you really think are going to go into it further than that? But anyway, right now, like you said before, we do have a lot of production in India right now. Even though it's US based, it is outsourced. Mostly all of our cars, except for Ford and Chevy, are outsourced outside of America. So that's going to be something new. They're going to try to do a CBU, which is a completely built unit for India for the time being, and try to get those people with charging stations set up at their homes. So the first market, of course, would be those that own homes, just like it was in America. We're going to try to roll this out the exact same way. Charging stations came later on. And there's no way in the world that you can have a charging station at every 5 to 10 mile mark. That's not just going to work, So you'll have them at specific places, like in shopping mall plazas, or you'll have them at or in the parking garages at the malls, or any place that is frequented by a lot of people is where you will want to focus on getting those charging stations. But like I said, the roads are going to be a big issue. As you see right here, our completely built units are going to range anywhere from 60 to 100% on customs duty. So it's going to cost a lot for shipping. Okay, this is just how it is with any car. Anything that you get brought in from outside of the country into your country, that tariff is going to automatically increase the price of the car. Okay, but they're trying to find a way to lower the tariff so that it can drop down to a price that would be reasonable even for those that can't use the feature. Just having a car that is electric is a big deal.
Okay, it is going to assist the government in lowering those emissions costs. Excuse me, and being registered in India actually might allow them to use a channel. What is that channel called? Give me one moment, because I actually was looking through this on my international pricing, and it came across the presentation for the chapter summary, and it came across as a, oh God, what is it called? Give me 1 second. I'm sorry about that. Price close, no. Because they have it where you can actually locally type of pricing, cartels, no, speaking government. Yeah, they have it where you can actually get some places, if you're manufacturing a car in that country or manufacturing any product in that country, you don't have to pay those local taxes. I can't remember exactly what the name of it was, and I was just about to go through that with my presentation today, but I'll do it next week. But let's go back to the form. Where was I at on here? All right.
Do you want to share your screen?
So where, no. Actually, you know what? I wasn't the first one in line for this, but I'm going to switch down to my side so that way I can go further. Okay, so right now we're looking at, I'm going into the effect of Tesla that has on the current automobile market in India. They've done many interviews with different automobile makers, OEMs is what they call them, which are regular car makers, also their EV segments. Right now, the main thing is it's not going to affect them because Tesla will be in the brand line such as Lamborghini and such of that nature. It's all luxury brands. So because of their 55 lakh price range, it's going to actually put it above the range for OEMs, which is not going to affect the current market of India right now, and just makes it competitive with luxury lines. They are going to bring that down over time, but they're saying it may be 10 years down the line that, you know, the revolution of India is going to be done, and then they can start bringing the affordability down to customers' points that they can actually afford them in, like, say, the middle class people of India. So right now, yes, they're going to focus more on that. There will be a projected revolution over time. So what I mean by that is that they're going to start doing more battery production, which is one big thing, which they do not do as of now, which would be a costly fix on an electric car from America. Excuse me, I'll keep thinking I'm here. But anyway, so that's one thing. They want to actually start opening up that industry for India as well, which would create more jobs. Also, it will make the EV cars that are there more stable because they'll have in-country manufacturing of those batteries, and those batteries are very expensive if you have to import. Okay. Let's see here. One more thing on that I wanted to touch on. Already went through the manufacturing plants. Charging infrastructures is a big deterrent. Got that already.
Hey Ron, do you mind revisiting? You mentioned something about manufacturing plants in India.
I'm sorry.
Did you mention something about manufacturing plants in India?
Yes, they actually want to. Well, as of right now, they're not worried about the manufacturing part. When they first go into India, they're going to be doing it as complete units. But gradually, they want to be able to manufacture the car completely in India. That is a big money saver for them. That's what they want to do, but they have to get into the market first by at least getting the car in the market and people interested in buying it. Most of the cars that you notice in India are going to be below 10 lakhs. That's why they said, you know, we can't get it to that price range. But once we're able to manufacture everything in India, then we can bring the price down from that staggering 22 lakhs down to around like 10, 15 lakhs if we can do everything locally. And the battery technology is the main thing that they're doing that is going to bring that down. But that won't be for a little while after they start building up their name in India. But that was the main things that they were talking about when it comes to introducing this EV car into India in itself. They want to fully be manufactured and sold in India But at the time being, it's just going to be for that elite 5 to 10%.
Okay, that's great. We move on to first part, which is in the beginning, actually, the operation and
Yeah.
production of Tesla and the problems that might arise.
I can start with the production. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, you're
we
audible.
can.
So I can start with the production in India, and I think so in this paragraph, I'm going to talk about the production of Tesla in India. So the Heavy Industries Ministry have requested Tesla to start manufacturing their electric vehicles in India before any tax concessions can be considered. On the other hand, the Indian government concern is that the government is not giving such concessions to any other auto firms, and giving duty benefits to Tesla will not send a good signal to other companies that have the other company, because other companies also invested billions of dollars in India, and that's what also happened when Hyundai get to know about the investment of Tesla and how government is trying to help Tesla to uh, come to India. So Hyundai, the Hyundai company of cars, they also wanted the same type of benefits or special package, which India is not giving them, of course, but it's a big concern for Indian government as well. On the other hand, Tesla is constantly demanding reduction in import duties on electric vehicles. To make that all possible as fast as Tesla have also registered their company in India with India with Heavy Industries, and there was one more. Wait a second. Yeah, it's somewhere I have written. Okay, so to make that all possible, the Tesla have also registered their company in India and also have sourcing partnership with at least 3 automobile component manufacturers in India. So in next part, I'm gonna talk about the what problems or Tesla can see in productions and operations. I think Elijah and Faz have talked about most of the problems. And so one of them is to make this project, I believe, successful. The government must have helped Tesla Indian Motors to establish power points throughout the country, allowing Tesla Indian Motors to run with comfort. One of the most significant challenge for Tesla is that they don't have any sorry, wait a second, let's go. Can you go a little bit down? Okay, let me open myself. So yeah,
Do you
Tesla
want to share?
requires no, it's fine. I just opened my laptop. So Tesla requires a web of power outlets around the country. I believe that the government must have, to make this all successful, government have to help Tesla, have to help to make the charging points or power points. I will give example of my country in Pakistan. So last year the government have established not Tesla one but normal EV power points on the highways. So people don't know what it was and people have no idea what it was. So people start to damage that uh, just to charge their phones or just to experiment what it is. So then they have to shut down from, and now it's not operating from 1 year. Number two is India is facing power outage, power shortage, electric shortage. So this can be also a problem because Tesla is all run by electricity. So and the government also help to Tesla like in this matter too, that they have to provide them electricity to their power outlets so people can just go there and charge their cars and they don't have to see any other problem. Then Tesla would face numerous challenges in the Indian market despite the fact that the Tesla Model 3 will brought directly into India as a completely built unit. So what I have seen, but other people have also mentioned that Tesla is saying that they're gonna start their car pricing around 60 to 70 lakh. But if they're gonna make that car, which Ron was also mentioning, and make that assemble all their car or put in India, so it will be more cheaper and more feasible or more approachable for the customers. Number three is beside From pricing, Tesla is likely to face opposition over its vehicle self-driving capabilities. Although the country road and traffic conditions are constantly improving, they are not yet fit for the Tesla experience because there are not enough signs and it's not more as are organized as Western countries have. So it's it will be fine with the time, but right now I don't think so. Tesla have if autopilot or this type of things, it's not gonna work in India right now. So as a result, what I believe in order to succeed in India, Tesla will have to transfer its manufacture here, just like they did in China. To repeat its success in China, the business has to grab at least 1% of the Indian car market. And in order to make this happen, they have to think a lot. And I think so the government have to help them to do this because only Tesla or private sectors, private people cannot do that. Yeah, that was my point.
Okay, and if you could scroll down, we could get into the SWOT analysis of Tesla in India. Yep, there we go. Okay, cool. So I went through a SWOT analysis of Tesla in India, figuring out what their strengths, weakness, and opportunities and threats would be. So their strength is basically them being unique. It's something different in the market. It's something that many people know of, but the Indian market has never seen before, like electronic vehicles or Tesla in general, actually. And it would be the first of its kind in India. And like another thing that came up was the fact that other luxury cars usually have very similar features, and whereas Tesla on the other hand would be new, it would be considered luxury considering its price, and it would be something completely different. Another strength would be that vandalism is a very common thing in India. People break into cars all the time. So there are many features, many unique features that other cars don't have that Tesla has, like the Sentry mode, where it makes the car even more secure, which would probably motivate the buyers to buying this car. Another thing is the fact that the running cost of this car, even though the initial price of the cost, even though the initial price of the car is fairly expensive, the running cost would be much lower. But I will get into the actual petrol and electrical charging station thing later. Another strength would be that I didn't put this in, but based on the discussion, what I was hearing, when it comes to luxury people, say specifically the 1% who could afford Tesla when they do enter the market with their big prize, I think they would still buy it because having a Tesla in some sorts is honestly, I believe, is a status symbol. It's like iPhone and everything. It's the brand that you're buying and the status that comes along with it. So I think the 1% wouldn't have much of a problem buying it for its status symbol, but the practicality of it would be an issue, which I'll get into its weakness. So getting into its weaknesses. First thing is Tesla needs superchargers. We've gone over that. It's not been introduced in India. And when it's introduced, most probably it would go to the main cities like Mumbai, Bangalore, and Calcutta, or all those places where usually the 1% live, where their target market would be living. However, that affects how far the car can go, because without a supercharger every few 100 kilometers, the car won't really be able to run. So that's one issue, because I mean, when you're just entering the market, you're not going to put a supercharger at every single spot like they do have in the States. And another thing is that people in India, many of them they don't live in houses. They usually live in apartments. And as Ron brought up, that when Tesla does come into the market, they're probably going to target people in houses. It's going to affect their sales with the people with apartments. Like, I'm making sense. Yeah. So the 1% who live in apartments may be affected by the supercharger placement. Next, when we talk about, again, like that, the highway thing where the car can't really go too far without the availability of superchargers. Another thing was the Indian market. In general, when people buy things, they enjoy extravagant things. This is not, the majority. They enjoy extravagant things, more fancy things, and comparatively, Tesla has more of a minimalistic design. Another thing is, which I went into, was the fact that it was in the question too, that India is soon going to be the largest middle class segment. So that would affect their market size. And another thing is Tesla's features is directed towards the driver, mainly the little iPad in the front screen, the self-driving thing. That is actually that's something the driver uses, and usually the 1% of people have drivers. So the people in the passenger seats don't really get all the benefits that the car actually has to offer. It's the driver who usually gets the benefits. Next, let's get into the opportunity. Again, so opportunity is that I brought up that these cars, that Tesla cars can't really go a long way, but opportunity is that what people would do is buy the Tesla, go short distances with the Tesla, and go long distance with a fuel car that uses fuel. Another thing is that the benefit of maintenance in Tesla, because the running costs are lower, you don't really need to usually have a maintenance schedule, meaning that you don't have to go in every few months to get it maintained. So that helps save costs. Another thing is that the autopilot feature is an opportunity for the buyers, because with the autopilot feature, you don't even have to hire a driver. The car is your driver, it just takes you there. So that's another benefit. Another thing is that I brought up the point that many of them have apartments, so they could install superchargers through a wider network, even when they just join in. So that would take much more research in the specific locations and logistics of it. And the opportunity last one was about reducing the cost, because right now they're going to be importing it, and that's actually increasing the cost. So investing into like an assembly plant or a factory in India would help reduce the price and make it much more competitive. Getting into threats, Tesla's, most of their sales actually happen through websites, and if they want to test the car, it's usually brought to the individual, like the cars got to the individual. However, the usual norm was, you go to a showroom, you see the car, you drive the car in the showroom, and you sign the thing over there. So that's something new that the Indian market would be introduced to, which may be an issue. However, if they're able to properly implement it, it would be a benefit. Another thing is that there are many myths against electronic vehicles over the not news media and social media, and that may affect the Indian market from buying cars. And another thing is the fact that they haven't been introduced to the benefits of electronic vehicles. So that may seem, again, Tesla will have to introduce themselves, talk about what the benefits are to the Indian market. Another thread that I did not put down here, but which I do want to talk about, is the fact, I think it was brought up before too, the power shortages in India. It's a very common occurrence. It's something that happens in many places on a daily basis. And considering these cars run on electricity, if there's a power shortage, you can't really use the cars. So that would affect the purchase, the sales of Tesla, because why would you buy something that doesn't have a definite source? Another thing is the road condition of India. There's a lot of potholes. It's not really great if you want to use the autopilot mode. So that's something the government will have to fix, and I don't think Tesla can fix that. And if they do, it's going to cost them too much to fix the entire of India. So it's not really logical. So as a whole, there are many governmental issues they may run into, aka basically the electricity and the road condition. They have to consider the market's knowledge on this. They're not very knowledgeable in electric vehicles, so they're gonna have to introduce themselves well. They're gonna have to consider the location of charging ports, because many of those 1% in their target market don't live in houses, they live in apartments. And they're gonna have to work closely with the Indian government to get assurance that they will have proper electricity. So as a whole, based on the SWOT analysis, even though the Indian Supreme Court is actually trying to find ways of bettering the air quality in India, Tesla in the immediate, coming years, I don't think they're going to get in so soon, considering there's a lot of things that need to be fixed before they get in. But in the long term, if they're actually able to get a factory there and work with the government to better India first before they come in, they have potential.
If there are no questions, then I guess we can head to the conclusion now.
After listening to all of the information, ideas, and strategies that each department had to contribute, we, the board of administrators, came to a conclusion that Tesla is not yet ready to enter the Indian market. It is good to take risks in business, but we can't ignore all of the risks and issues that could arise if Tesla enters the Indian market. And as of now, India has no superchargers. Tesla's designs are quite simple and minimalistic for the Indian market. And lowering the prices sounds like a good idea, but even the cheapest Tesla vehicles are like too expensive in comparison to most of the other vehicles that are offered in the market. And in addition, the cheaper variants have lower ground clearance, which is really bad for the bad roads with potholes in India. And the internal things get damaged really easily, and it's really hard to maintain it with the bad roads. So maybe in future it would be a greater, with greater advancements, it might be a good opportunity for Tesla, but for now it should not expand into the Indian market. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else? So, okay, so I have a I have a few questions, just literally 3 questions I have. You guys covered a lot. You got a lot of breadth and depth on the issue. So I just had 3 basic questions, some questions of which you've kind of lightly spoken on already, or maybe in a little bit more depth you already had, but I just kind of want to have an executive summary of the following 3 things that I want to ask. So the first thing is, one, if you had to just summarize this, what would you say is the top 3 strengths or opportunities for actually justifying the entering into the Indian market for Tesla? And then what would be, on that same token, the top 3 reasons for not, right? The weaknesses and threats. If you just had to encapsulate that in 1 minute, minute and a half, what would those things be? I think your speaker is cut off a bit.
That India's air is severely polluted, so Tesla's electronic cars would be a good product for the industry if people cared enough about their air, which they probably don't. But that could have been one of the main things. Oh wait, and then another one is the fact that Tesla is planning to lower the costs, so the high cost might not be as much of an issue because there are many people who drive Audis and BMWs and Mercedes in India, and those people might opt to drive Teslas in future. Like how Advika said, it's like buying an iPhone. So just for the status, they might buy it. And so the first thing is the fact that it's an electric car. The second thing would be, wait, I forgot what I said.
The air pollution reduces
Yeah,
the
the
air
air pollution. Thank
and
you. And then the
third one would be, cutting costs. Like if they get to cut down their cost to like a drastic amount, like let's say hypothetically, if they can get it down to 10-15 lakhs, then they'd be seeing a huge potential market in India. But as of now, even with the drop to 35 lakhs, it's kind of iffy that would make people want to go, maybe not, because the purchasing habit would be of two things. One, people who are buying Tesla, one would be buying it for the status, for their love of the brand, not looking at practicality or anything because they can afford it. And the other one would be looking at, yes, this is good. It has decent range, not gonna lie, like not like like the Nissan Leaf or anything which used to have like terrible range, but these cars actually do have proper range. But comes to practicality on how many times a day would you be able to charge it, if it gets dented, damaged, how long will it take you to repair it? Because Tesla right now, it is small. Even though the company is 20 years in, like compared to a big manufacturer like Tata, who houses like 600,000 employees, compared to a 70,000 employee company, there's going to be a lot of issues when it comes to customer service, production issues, like making new cars. Every time they have a new lineup, there's production issues, even though pre-sales are across the charts. Yeah, many factors. Like Tesla is very new, and I'm not saying that they won't find success in this market. They will. The sheer hype of Tesla coming to India will surge sales. Not just in India. The fact that it's available in India will make people in Nepal buy it, because it's not a new concept of people from Nepal going to India just to purchase a car. Uh, so there are upsides, and then there are downsides, but right now it's kind of difficult for Tesla to come. It has to do a lot with the government and all. And speaking of production, like how I just got this idea, how India is trying to make everything local. Tesla can take a page out of Suzuki and Honda for like, in India, it's not just Suzuki, it's Maruti Suzuki. Suzuki has partnered up with a local company in India. So Tesla can do that to cut down their manufacturing costs. Like let's say dealing with Mahindra or even Tata for say, like to make help get them the manpower they need and the 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 resources they need to kickstart mass production if everything goes right.
All right, now question for you. If Are they going to plan on having the same kind of scenario in India when they first launched, like they did in America, where if they have if you have one of the Teslas and you decide to go on a long-term run, would they have a partnership with another automobile company to trade in your car for a regular OEM until you come back and then get your Tesla back? Or how are they planning on doing that as well?
I guess it depends on their negotiations, because uh, as of what I know, there's no plans like that in India or in Nepal. So if Tesla does that, then more power to them. It'll be more advantageous for them. That's what I would say.
Thank you, Frederick.
No worries.
Cool, great. So second question is, let's say just the positives outweighed the negatives, and you guys decide to go forth with actually entering the Indian market. Would you say that Tesla is in a financial position to impart to basically to sustain a loss for at least 3 years, and if in the Indian market, and if so, do you think Tesla has the type of shareholders that would be willing to stomach that type of 3-year loss for the sake of a long-term orientation in the Indian market?
Well, if you look at it, Tesla's already in a loss, and their shareholders aren't really looking more into the short term. They're looking into the long term when it comes to sales. So if they know that they're going into one of the world's largest markets and they're trying to expand to that side of the world, I'm pretty sure that those investors and probably new investors in the East would definitely band together to take that small hit as long as they see progression throughout the 3 years. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's another electric car company. Well, they used to be. It was called Nicholas, and then it was valued around $1 billion before the company even rolled out any vehicles, and they had a whole lineup of SUVs, sedans, and even trucks. And then, well, the company went bankrupt, and then the whole CEO is getting sued for fraud and whatever. But the investors invested it looking at long-term goals rather than short-term. And 3 years for a car company is very short-term, because even Tesla is like 10, 20 years in, and they're still a baby company compared to other big manufacturers. So if they're trying to enter a market which has huge potential, then I don't see investors like straying away from the possibility, especially because Tesla has proven that it can roll out cars and people can buy it in different markets.
Cool, great answers. Okay, so the last question is, I may have missed it, but I don't, maybe I missed it, but I don't know if I've heard you guys speak on China to any extent. Obviously, this isn't about entering the Indian market, it's about entering the Chinese market, but they are in the same geographical area, and they do to some extent share certain kind of consumer dynamics that are similar. So I just want to know, to what extent did you guys kind of look into Tesla's strategy in the Chinese market, and to what extent can we extrapolate information and kind of understand if some of their strategy there could actually be of some sort of guidance in the Indian market?
Yeah, are you saying
Professor,
like
what do you mean?
Tesla trying to enter the Chinese market through India as a basis, or?
No. The strategy as a basis. Their strategy in
okay.
China so far as a basis in India, because the last time I checked, I could be off, but the last time I checked, they were doing relatively well in China, actually. And even Elon Musk has even said that he believes in a very short time that'll be their largest market, which makes sense. If you do good in China, there is 1.4 billion people there. So, so I'm just wondering, to what extent can we look at that as a basis or a strategy, and see how could some of the things they do there actually work in India, or lack thereof?
I guess the first thing they could do is set up a factory. That's what they did in China. They have the, I think it's Gigafactory. They had it over there, and it saved money on taxes. And they could do the same in India, which would help reduce costs, therefore expand your market.
Yeah, but the problem with India was their policies on promoting locally made, and then the problem with that was, will Tesla get enough skilled manpower to fulfill all the roles for that gigafactory? Because the gigafactory is huge. It's a self-sustaining, extremely big factory. With China, their industrialization it's much bigger than in India. Like even their development projects, their road constructions, it's pretty fast paced too. So I would say, yeah, in China they would see more benefit. Their progress would be better, because the way China development infrastructure that's being built, it's a bit more faster than in India, well compared. So
Yeah, that's true.
I could be wrong here, but maybe if that's, I mean, if I know that local products are being promoted, what if Tesla were to maybe partner with the local company or work with the local company?
Yeah, like I said, with Mahindra or Tata, they could do the same thing that Honda did with Hero Honda for bikes, and Maruti Suzuki for cars.
What I was reading, I think Tesla is already doing a partnership with Indian Motors, something like Indian Motors. So it's
But
Tesla
I don't
India
think sorry, but I don't think India Tesla will partner, or maybe, I mean, like I don't think Mahindra or Tata will partner with Tesla, because they have got their own electronic vehicles coming up, and it's under, it's under, like it's only about 15 to 16 lakhs, those Tatas and Mahindra's electric vehicles, and they are in high demand in India. So that is also the reason why I don't think Tesla will come to India, because it's 15 and 16 lakhs over here with the Tata vehicles, Indian vehicles, and whereas Tesla is costing more than 70 or something like that.
I
True.
feel like, I mean, it's completely different though. These are two, as much as India and China can be compared, they're two completely different entities because look at what happened when Tesla looked into China. China was already making all the parts that were necessary for the building of their cars. China just amended their law so that Tesla could bring over their patent without any red tape. Also, when he went into China, when they went into China, uh, they were able to bring in finished vehicles with a discount on their tariffs. This is all done before Tesla even came into China. So it's going to be a whole different playground from China versus India, which still has all that red tape versus China getting rid of it. So, and Tesla spent $0 on marketing in China to get into China because China already had everything they needed. And EV was a big thing that was coming into circulation into China, where India just doesn't have that yet. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to compare the entrance into China into going into India at the same time. Yes, you're saying their partnerships and everything, but China for Tesla, China really didn't need to partner with anybody because they could just literally move from US to China with no problem. And
Yeah,
everything could be made locally there, so
yeah,
it cut
government
a
compliance
lot
is
of
a huge
costs.
thing. The
Yeah.
government compliance is a huge thing compared to those two superpowers. One is restricting, and then the other one is open to foreign companies to develop. And yeah,
Yes, and as far as I know, it says that in the Indian policy, it says that the government policy, it has said that above the vehicles, electric vehicles above 60 or 50 lakhs will have to pay around 80 to 90% taxes, whereas the vehicles which is lower than 50 lakhs or something, they only have to pay about 35 to 40% taxes. So that's a huge no-no for Tesla.
and that's on their cheapest car.
Yeah, that's only the cheapest car.
That's their cheapest car. People would not even look in the Model S or the Model X. Maybe they'll look into the Model Y, which is a
Maybe
cheaper
what India is trying to do is maybe trying to promote their own, Tata and Mahindra first, and have the electric vehicle
Yeah,
market of Indian vehicles itself, only then allow the foreign company
foreign
to enter the market.
that would be a
Because
possibility.
yeah, maybe they're trying to do that.
Perfect. Cool. So I think we'll kind of end it there. It was very both informative and engaging discussion.